Hey there, beautiful people. Welcome back to Hattie Empowers YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. So let's get right into it. So today I want to talk about your feelings and whether or not you are feeling okay, or if you're not feeling okay, being able to safely express how it is that you feel and seeing what may come up out of that. And what do I mean, right? So a lot of times people ask you, like, hello, how you doing? And sometimes it's bypassing, right? So you say it to someone who you happen to be walking by. Let's just say if you're at work, if one of your colleagues happen to ask you that, you see somebody in the street and they happen to ask you that, but it's they are not really asking you because they want to know how you're doing, right? Because they continue to walk, which means they're not stopping to actually have a conversation with you. But I want to talk about those times when people are really asking you and want to have a conversation with you, or if they're just asking you. I'm a strong believer, and I constantly tell people, unless you really want to know how I'm doing, please don't ask me. Why? Is because you're giving me an opening to actually tell you how I am doing. What I won't do is pretense. I'm not going to tell you that I'm fine if I'm not. I'm not going to tell you that I'm good if I'm not. I'm not going to tell you that I'm great, even if I am, because I'm not going to just leave it at that. I'm going to really indulge in how it is that I am doing, which means if your intent is not to actually find out or to care about how am I feeling or how am I doing, then please don't ask me respectfully, right? Because what happens is if you ask me, I'm going to tell you. And it's crazy because most people don't expect, or they're not ready for what it is that I'm about to say, right? Because they're thinking I'm going to say, oh, I'm good. Oh, I'm fine. Oh, it's just another Monday. But no, that is not what I'm going to say. I'm going to speak my truth, because at that moment, I'm going to assume that you actually care how I'm doing. You actually care how am I feeling because you asked me that. Because see, when I ask, I'm being intentional and asking you, which means I want to know how you're doing. I want to know how you're feeling. I want to know your thoughts. And I'm ready to take on anything that it is that you have to say, which is why I'm not going to always ask you that if I know I am not prepared mentally, emotionally, and spiritually prepared for whatever it is that you may have to say, right? Because you may be someone in that moment that may need to dump on me, which means you may need to vent, you may need to get it out, you may need to purge it out, you just may need to hug it out, whatever it is that comes up for you, I'm going to be prepared to receive it if I am asking you that. Sometimes I have to be very much intentional in my wording when I ask someone how are they doing, because I ask, how are you really truly doing? I do not want your generic answer. I truly am checking in because I want to know how you're doing. And a lot of people are not prepared for that because folks really don't care. And I don't think it's their intentions to be unthoughtful, or they're just using a word just to use it. I think it's just a phrase that we learned to say just to be polite. And I think that that's what it is that they're doing. They're not really trying to just sit there and hear what it is that you have to say. But let me tell you what could come up for you, right? From being able to really give your truth and tell someone how you're actually doing, you are able to get a lot of revelations. For those of you who may go into deep thought or deep prayer or meditation, a lot of times your questions will be answered just by you speaking and then hearing yourself, and then you will hear the answer within you having the conversation with the person who asked you, how are you doing or how are you feeling? You are able to purge and get whatever it is that you need to get out. Like whatever came up for you, you're able to actually get it out and feel better about it. You can actually feel like someone actually cares, right? They cared enough to allow you to say what it is you had to say, because you also don't know what their feedback may or may not be, and it may be beneficial to you, right? You may also learn that maybe I should have kept that to myself. Maybe that wasn't the right person to share this with, or maybe it wasn't something to be shared and it's something that I needed to have deep thought about, or I needed to go back to prayer with, or I needed to actually redirect this to someone else. Or maybe I'm putting too much on it and this wasn't really anything that needed to be said. So you don't know what may come out of that, but it will do something for you. And you want to be able to be honest and transparent also with yourself on your feelings. You don't have to feel like you have to be guarded all the time, right? You need to know that there are people that you can be vulnerable with. You can definitely be unmasked and fully naked with, right? So you need to know that there is a safe space for you to be able to say how it is that you're feeling and how it is that you're doing. So once again, when I ask folks this, and just know, we ever have a conversation and I'm asking you this, I'm giving you permission to say whatever it is that you need to say, to get out whatever it is that you need to get out, to release whatever it is that you need to release, because I have time for it. I love when I have interactions with certain people that I know that I can be unmasked with, naked with, and just very vulnerable with, and I can get out what it is that I need to say. And I realize that I have a lot of my own answers, right? I pretty much know what it is that I need to do by hearing myself speak. I'm just like, oh, Mika, you got this. Like, you know exactly what it is that you need to be doing. You know exactly what it is that you thought that this was, right? You are very clear on what it is that the situation is, whatever it is that's going on. But I needed to be able to get that out. And by that person providing me that ear, that open heart and that welcoming, I'm able to get out what it is that I have to say. So I'm very intentional on making sure that if you ask me that question, I'm honestly answering you, because it's doing more for me than it is for you. So my question to you, and please put it in the comments, let me know. When someone asks you, are you okay, or how are you doing? How comfortable are you with actually expressing those things and to being able to verbalize what it is that you are feeling? Now, do understand that everyone is not entitled to your full access, which means everyone that asks you these questions, no, you're not meant to just purge it all out to those particular people. So you definitely have to be mindful of who it is that you're speaking to and making sure that that is a safe space for you, right? Because you may be someone who want to do full disclosure when someone asks you that, but you're doing it to the wrong person. So it's still all about knowing who it is that you're speaking to, what it is that you're saying, because everyone is not ready to handle whatever it is that you have to say. And then you need to make sure that you can trust these folks. So yes, there will be times when it'll just be generic, right? You will literally just walk down the halls and say, good morning, good afternoon, or how are you doing? Say, I'm fine, and keep it moving. Then there's other people that's going to ask, and you be like, do you really got time to hear what it is that I have to say? Because it's a lot, right? And that is okay. And I think for the most part, people who come to me and do ask me or have idle chit chat with me are also the same folks that I can be open and honest with to say what it is that I have to say. And I think for me personally is that I am an open book, pretty much. I am very much open. I am very much truthful and honest in how I speak. I am the same person and I show up the same way in all relationships. I may alter the way I say certain things or language that I use depending on where I'm at, but at the same time, I'm pretty much authentic in who I am in all my spaces, which means that if anyone pretty much asks me how am I feeling or how am I doing, I will tell you. How much I disclose in that setting may be different depending on who you are. But if I'm not okay that day, no matter who asks me, I will say I am not okay. And then I will indulge into why. But going into deep details also depends on who it is that I'm speaking to. So I'll also tell you to guard yourself with that, right? Because once again, everyone is not your person in that way where you can do a full disclosure, but also being honest with that, right? Because once again, if you're in certain settings, let's say if you're in a social gathering and you're with friends and you may come off a little standoffish or different from how you normally would, that would be a great opportunity to let them know. Or even saying, listen, I really want to go out with y'all and socialize, but I'm just really not okay. And I don't think that I will be good company. Not that I don't want to be in your company. However, I won't be good company because I will not be myself because I'm not okay. So this is not the right time. So this is not the right time for me to be socializing in this setting with you all because I'm not doing well right now. Right? So it's also good to say that, or even when you step into your workplace and you're not feeling okay and you have a colleagues and it's a small environment and it's intimate and usually the vibe is set at a certain tone and you come in and you're changing it because your vibe, your spirit, your energy is not feeling it. It should be okay for you to disclose that because you want to let them know, because what happens is you don't want them to feel like it's them. You don't want to put your stuff on them. You don't want to make your problems their problems. You don't want them to feel as if they are the problem. So also being open and honest with that is okay. But once again, you don't have to fully disclose, but just by saying today is not the day. I know it's not Monday, but I got a Wednesday blues. So it's really not the day. So if I'm a little quiet or whatever, I don't want you to take it personally. I'm just not feeling like myself today. So I may be a little more quiet than usual. Because if you have that intimate setting, it should be all right for you to be able to say that. Even if you're a parent and you're at home, your children feel your energy. They already know the vibes. They already know what's going on. They already know if you're being a little standoffish. And they may think that it's them and that they did something wrong, especially if it was at a moment that you came home and you had to fuss about something. Then they're going to feel like your whole demeanor is because of them. So also being able to disclose to them that you're not up to it today. You're not feeling it. You just want to eat dinner, wash up, and get in the bed. I'm a firm believer in that. I definitely do that with my daughters. I let them know, like, this is not a good day. Mommy's not feeling well. I'm not feeling up to it. I really don't feel like talking to anything right now. And that's because that's not the type of relationship that we have, right? Physical touch is my love language. Communication is my love language. We chop it up after work and after school. You know, they lay in a bed with me. We get real intimate and close. That's the type of relationship that we have. But there's some days where it's just like super draining and it's a lot. And I come home and that is not what I want and what I need in that moment. I need solitude. I need to decompress. And I need to go to bed. And that's just it. But it's all about communicating with them and letting them know how I feel. So it's not just letting people know, even when you're happy, right? And you can be okay and you're happy and you're ecstatic and you want to share and you want to share the good news, even getting that out. But just being open and honest about how it is that you're feeling. I felt like that has been so healing. It's brought on so much more healing for me. Being able to be honest about that and disclosing that. Being able to be honest about my truth and how I'm feeling and not feeling like I have to fake in front of anyone. I am pretty much an extrovert. I am a whole extrovert. But that does not mean that I do not want my alone time. It doesn't mean that sometimes I do not want to be bothered and I want to shut off from the world. Or that I do not need to decompress, because I do. And there are certain times when I'm pretty much okay, but I want to be alone. And that should be okay as well. You can't feed off of my energy all the time. Because my energy is not on 1,000. Well, pretty much all the time. It is. Let me not front. But there's 5% of the time that it's not. And I just want to like soak up my own energy, recharge, reboot, feel what it is that I'm feeling, understanding like what it is that I'm going through, what my body may be going through, my mental may be going through. Like I just may need to take off my glasses and shut my eyes. And that should be all right. And you all should be all right with that as well. So once again, are you comfortable, or how comfortable you are? Or even if you're not comfortable, how uncomfortable are you with actually speaking your truth when someone asks you, how are you doing or how are you feeling? If that question is posed to you and you're not really doing well or feeling well, will you really disclose your truth? Will you be honest even with yourself? Or have you mustered up some type of coping mechanism where you can say, oh, I'm all right, oh, I'm good, and really walk around here pretensing and making folks believe that? Then when you go home, what happens? Does your depression hit? Does anxiety hit? Loneliness? Like, what does that look like for you when you're not able to do that? So I challenge you. This week, I challenge you to enter this week, and whoever asks you, how are you feeling and how are you doing? First ask them, are you really giving me permission to tell you how I'm really feeling and how I'm really doing before I let you know, and answer that question? Because if you're not and you're not ready for my answer, please do not ask me that right now. Or if you're speaking to someone who you know is really asking you because they really want to know, then I challenge you to just let loose. And then come back in the comments and tell me how that worked out for you. Okay? All right, y'all. Follow me on Instagram at Hattie Empowers. Please like, subscribe. Have a good kind of day. I pray that you have a beautiful, beautiful week on purpose with love. Tag me in.